Okay. Hi guys. It's Ray McDivitt. Thanks for joining in for the live stream this month. We're out here trying to do a little event recap. It's a little weird doing this by myself. I don't have Tyler here, and I wish I did because at least like he keeps me straight, and then also at the same time I can kind of pay attention to what I'm saying without having to also monitor the chat. So I'm gonna do my best here by myself. But we're gonna have a good time. So thank you for joining. We want to keep, kind of as I said in the description for this event, I guess I don't know. I want to try and keep keep the communication flowing. Really just hoping that anybody who hears this will get a little bit more insight into what's going on. We're gonna try and do this after every event. Yeah, in the spirit and in the comments. We're gonna try and do this after every event to kind of act as a little post-event recap, and then also a little bit of a look ahead, and then leave it open for questions and stuff like that, so that we can kind of talk about any topics. Like it can be anywhere from drifting to snowboarding to setup to I don't know, event organization. Maybe like, hey, let's brainstorm some ideas on what we can do to improve. So good opportunity to ask. So Andy just over here asked, does anyone do ride-alongs at the events? I'll say straight up, most people do ride-alongs. Some people are a little particular about it, I'll say, understandably, because there's a lot going on when you're in the driver's seat when you're out on track, to where maybe you're trying to focus on something and the distraction of somebody else is tough sometimes. But generally speaking, people are pretty open to ride-alongs. Just a matter of walking over to them in the pits. If you like their car, you like their style of driving, anything like that, great time to ask. It's definitely it's a nerve-wracking kind of thing to approach, but I think you'll find that everyone's pretty receptive, and even if they aren't giving a ride along, they'll probably point to your buddy who is. I know a lot of the times I'll have like multiple ride-alongs lined up, so it's kind of hard to integrate into that, and then combine that with the rush of being out there and driving. It's hard to manage also. I've had multiple times where somebody said, "Hey, can I hop in?" I'm like, yeah, you hop in. Just make sure you're over here whenever I'm over here. I go do my laps, go over there. They're not there. I just grab somebody else. I go back out. We're not going to sit around and wait. So just be on top of it. Be mindful of their time, because if they're going out of their way to give you that opportunity, take it and be there and be ready, because that's going to be your best bet. So hopefully that helps. But yeah, understand definitely is nervous. So I got like notes here to try and keep myself on topic. So looking back at the April 12th event, this last weekend, honestly, couldn't have asked for a better day. Exceeded expectations across the board. We had a beautiful weather. Track was in good shape. Everybody came up and showed up and showed out. So it was very good. I kind of went through and I made a little list of stuff that I think went really well, and some stuff that I think didn't go as well, which I don't know, stuff happens. And then also I've got a little list of like some lessons learned that we can carry moving forward. And then my goal is I'm going to get through my little agenda here, and then hopefully that'll answer a bunch of questions. If you have something that's related to what I'm talking about, please throw it out there. I'll try and address that. If not, just we'll try and backload stuff. Let me get through everything, and then we'll go through questions and stuff like that. So good. I'm just kind of going to go from start to finish. Everybody parked really well. Honestly, it was really cool seeing how well everyone parked into the pits. I think that the updated road coming in and everything like that worked out really well, generally speaking, with the millings and everything down, so we're not going through as much of a mud bog, and that'll get better over time. And then there's plenty of room for everybody in the pits. It was packed, it was full, but it wasn't like there was too many people, and we're trying to improve that situation. So thank you guys for doing that. Next, tech was rolling. I will say it was cool. One thing that was really cool, and something that we're going to try and move some stuff around for next time. Yeah, Paige, that's a good idea. So yeah, we could definitely add like a ride-along stop area. We haven't really done a lot of focus on the ride-alongs parts, because we think that there's a lot of work that could be done on that front. So we're working on it, to say the least. It's definitely something that we want to implement and make a little bit, have a better structure to it. I'm just kind of going back to that ride-along note that we happen to be talking about. So yeah, so going back to tech was went really well. I really liked how everyone ended up kind of like parked up. It almost looked like a little like mini car show. There was like 7 cars I think at one point when I walked over there, and everything was parked up looking sick. So like that, and we're gonna try and move some stuff over there so we can do that moving forward. So I think that worked really well. We had 4 people there, and they would all line up there. Oh, and then yeah, definitely Tyler. If you can address some of these questions in the comments as we go through it, that's awesome. I definitely appreciate that. That's dope. So yeah, tech was dope. Everyone got through there pretty smoothly. I think hopefully I know a couple people got them. We have the metal fire extinguisher brackets there at Tech. They're available for purchase because I know that they're kind of hard to find sometimes in stores. And then if it's last minute, you can't get them in stock. We have it's the U-line bracket for 2.5-pound fire extinguishers. They're $15 a piece, which is basically what they cost. And it's just something that's convenient. So if you show up with a plastic bracket, you can upgrade it in like boom, done. You don't have to worry about it. And a big reason for that, just FYI, is that the plastic ones aren't really designed for this application. Yeah, they work. I know people who have them and have them use them for. Yeah, good, Nick. I'm glad that helped, because I know a lot of people have them and they've had them for a while, but I also don't know many people who've hit the wall at 40 miles an hour with them in that plastic bracket to be able to say that yeah, they hold up to a heavy impact like that. The bracket, the metal ones do. Look up anything that's a vehicle intended for holding a fire extinguisher in a vehicle, and all of this is about not making that fire extinguisher a secondary projectile. So it's for your safety. It's to minimize the damage to your car. It's for your passenger safety. We don't want that like secondary impact happening there. So that's why we have the metal fire extinguisher and requirement, and thankfully we have them now readily available. So hopefully I'm glad that's been helpful for some. Next, media was dope. We had so many people out there, and I was honestly I think some of us on the staff side were pretty concerned with kind of how that would go. There was probably 27 all said and done, including the MMDC media. 27 people out there running around in yellow vests, and we didn't have. I'm not aware of any problem. I'll say that. So we didn't have any problem. Things went really, really well, and that was really cool. So thank you, media guys, for keeping everything on lock and not letting that capacity kind of run into a problem, because none of us really want to limit that, because it's fun, right? It makes it more fun for media, and also generates more media, it's crazy, Jared, man. Like, and more pictures, and it's a good opportunity to learn from other photographers, videographers, and stuff like that. We've got the drones flying around, and Andreas has that really well on lock. It's just really cool to see, and I like seeing the coverage. I like seeing people have fun, and I've got some stuff that's we're going to talk about a little bit later on. Just making sure we're going to talk about the media challenge series later on, so we'll get into that. So we're trying to have some more fun with the media guys too, guys and girls. Run groups, I know that we kind of were apprehensive of them, and in generally we're still apprehensive. We don't want run groups, but it's really what's necessary to make this all work well. I got this so run groups went really well. Everyone was really cognizant of that and understanding. I think progressing people through there with a more structured system helped. I know that there was some people that went from like C group to A group in the same day. We're not trying to hold anybody back with these run groups, and I hope that nobody's taking it that way. It doesn't seem that. We're just trying to make sure that you're in a good environment to learn what you need to learn before you have a three-car tandem roaring up behind you. So we're still trying to figure out how to better optimize that and stuff, but that was cool. I think that hope you guys like the stickers and stuff like that for tracking it. So now we have a good system for that. So that's cool. And then on that note with the run groups, I want to say that the driving was great. The driving progress in particular, everyone was really receptive to the instructor's feedback. Those that were there and ready to learn. I mean, hopefully there was no lack of information that was available. You guys, the ones that came over and were like asking for advice, and then they implemented it immediately. I mean, just seeing them grow lap after lap, it was insane. So, the progress was really good. I really appreciate being receptive of the instructor's feedback. We are always trying to improve that. I know it's difficult. And then Yeah, and then also the switch over between run groups. I know one of the things that's on that front is like the entrances and exits. There's a lot of switching back and forth. We're going to do some better stuff to help improve that in the future. So we'll get to that later though, because I do have some notes on that. And then right in line with that is really the vibe, right? So you guys really like I know that all the staff members were like, I think that everyone kind of got the vibe. You know, these driver advancement days are meant to be this kind of hybrid between a regular drift day and a clinic day. We tried to do open drift days strictly at Jackson before, so that it's open to the broader audience, and we've had issues with that because it's a hard track. It's a really hard track to learn, and if you don't walk your way up and through it, it just turns into a dirt fest, and we don't want that. We know that results in low quality laps, a lot of damage to the track. It doesn't look good. It's not fun to watch. So we want to try to facilitate that slow progress, and then also understand that it's practice. We're out here practicing, and you don't need to be the hero of the day. Although we do have a driver of the day, but it's part of that is it's embodying that mindset of like we're here to learn, and don't try not to skip steps. It's really easy in this motorsport to skip steps to where like you go from, hey, I see them doing this and I'm doing this, I want to just jump over there. And it's very hard to do that because there's a lot going on, right? Stuff happens really fast. So we want to take that pressure off and just enjoy it. Enjoy the fact that you're going to get. I think I'd be curious to know what some of the higher number of lap counts were. I know that I've heard like 60 to 80 before in last year, but I haven't heard any feedback for this year. But I'd be really surprised if you're getting less than 50 laps. I mean, if you're out there during your run group and you're getting less than 50 laps, like, I don't know, that doesn't really make a lot of sense. I don't know how that even happens. So we're rolling them through. You're still getting a ton of seat time. There's no lack of seat time. You're not in a rush as much as possible. We're trying not to rush people. No, I'm over at Copper Mountain in Colorado. Just going to Winter Park tomorrow too. Okay, so Jake just said he got 52 laps, and that's I would imagine that's pretty much like on the lower end of average in whole reality. Really just enjoying the day. Spend time with your friends. Spend time on and off track. Spend time watching. Spend time meeting up with friends to. Yeah, we're always salivating for more concrete. Spend time talking with more advanced drivers, and more advanced drivers. Spend time talking with more beginner drivers, and like again, taking the time to grow. So you guys really captured the vibe. Everything went really smoothly. That was dope. Another one. Okay, I mean that's not bad. I mean if you're overheating and got to take a break and you're still getting 37 laps in a day, I mean that's really good to hear. Next thing I got is food trucks. Honestly, I hope you guys really enjoyed them. I know I did. So we got Junkyard from Hot Rods and we got Sam from Tiki Sam's. They're both into cars and stuff like that. They have great food. I know that I tried some of the pizza. I had a Nashville hot chicken sandwich. That shit was dank. So hopefully those were good selections. I noticed they were pretty popping all day. I don't think it was anything too much. I know as these events grow that we're going to pull in a third truck, and we've got some other things on the horizon. So that was a pretty cool layout and good stuff. Then we also did a little driver check-in. So when I went through the pits and was like, hey, C group, and we put an announcement in, we did whatever we could. C group come over, and we're gonna do a little check-in. Everyone just kind of like huddled and came over, which was great. And I will say that the driving, like, it kind of like transformed right after. I'm trying to get out of the wind if you see me doing weird stuff. Good. I'm glad you guys had some good food there. It's really good to hear and see that. I know that they're going to love seeing that. We'll get this feedback back to them just because, it's what makes them excited about this stuff. But anyway, so doing that little check-in with C Group, that was really, really good. It gave a good opportunity too. I grabbed like seven of you guys to come and hop in my Accord just to do some laps and show the line. I know that you guys were really appreciative of that and really thankful, and that said it was really helpful. So I'm going to say right now, anybody who sees this and anybody who's trying to learn that line, just hit me up. We're going to keep that check-in process going forward because it was just a good opportunity to be like, hey, everything's going good, or like, we're gonna make some changes here. It'll also be a good opportunity when we're looking at different groups, right? Obviously, we did that for C group because we saw the need for it at the time. We want to also do it for A and B group, so that we can kind of talk about like, hey, do you guys want to do maybe single lap short course instead of double lap short course for a session? Do you want to maybe work on a certain drill, like especially like during long course? It'd be good to have that feedback before then. We could do a drill between where we're working on the transition between. I already have one in mind. The transition between oval and kart track. I got a line that we can set up to make it so like, yeah, if you hit this, you're gonna go like as deep as you possibly can beyond the tires and come back. So the C group check-in was good. You guys were very receptive to the feedback. It seemed to kind of like shift the mentality, calm everybody's nerves maybe a little bit too, especially with it being the first event of the year. And then also was a great opportunity for those of you guys that took it to hop in the car and getting you might not, if you haven't been out there in this situation, it's really cool. Getting within a couple feet of the car in front of me and really paying attention to what they're doing, looking at their handbrake pulls. I was behind Yanni. Yanni was honestly couldn't have given me a better lap to follow, Yanni. I don't know if you're in here, but if you do hear this or anybody sees this, being able to see, he was using every bit of the track exactly as we expected. We want people to use it, and it's like a transformative experience when you see somebody drive it like that, especially when you're just getting started, especially if it's your first day at Jackson, and you get up close and personal, you're like, whoa, I didn't even know that this part worked. So yeah, I'll touch on. Let me double check, make sure we're not gonna come back to that. Live stream. So to touch on Derek Schomer's question, yes, track question for run groups. Has there been any consideration for applications for the A and B only events? So yes, we do want to. Oh, sick, Yanni, you're in here. Cool. Yeah. Yeah, dude, killer laps, man. So Derek, on that note, yes, we are trying to figure that out. We don't know exactly the process. We do want to make it so that it's like you have the opportunity to still get in, from out of state, and I want people to be there. But we really need to have some good insight into who they are as a driver at that point, because I know that, regardless of where you are, what level you're at somewhere else, this track is a little bit tighter and a lot of times. So we do want to work with them, and we do want them to be out here if as long as they're at that A and B group driver level. And if they know that they're already there, right? Like they're like, yeah, I could do this no problem. Just also knowing that they are mindful of what they're getting into, right? So that they can learn the track, right? And I think that we're going to have some more information out there so that they can see what the line's supposed to look like, so some videos and stuff like that. So if they can look at that beforehand, basically, we might send them over and be like, hey, just check this out, make sure that you understand what you're going to go for, take your time, and we're not going to hold them back, because we want as many people out here as possible enjoying this. Yeah, that's a good point. Like, vouching, like, hey, I'll vouch for them. I know that they're good. They're going to show up and they're going to put it down. So that'll be really helpful. Just checking. Yeah, cool. Yeah, so then actually, Jacob, it's funny you mentioned the YouTube live thing. So that was the last thing on. So that we did a live stream, for those of you who don't know. It is on our YouTube. It's on the Mid-Michigan Drift Club YouTube, and that went really, really well. Good. I'm glad that made sense, Derek. That went really well. We were going into that day. The plan was that, hey, we're going to try this out as a not live stream, just to get us in the process. Found out that, basically we were kind of like, well, why not? Let's give it a go. And found out that we got good enough internet to give it a go. And the Andreas, rallied the media team. It was Tom, Ryan, Josh, Michelle were all helping out and everything like that. And that went awesome. I had a really good time doing it, obviously, if you couldn't tell. But for our first attempt at something, we know we have plenty that we can improve on. That we literally went into it was like, this is gonna be garbage. Was our mentality on it. Whatever it's gonna be, we're just gonna put our expectations at garbage, and if we can get better than garbage, then wonderful. And I'm pretty stoked on it. I hope that was our first time ever doing it, and as we add more features and stuff like that, I'm really excited to see where that goes. Cool. Yeah, good, Tyler. And I'm trying to learn. Obviously, even mentioned in the live stream, trying to learn people's names. Maybe make it easier just to mention their cars. We're working on more camera angles and stuff like that. Just all these little things that we'll do to make it better. It'll be really cool to see it grow over time. So that's a lot of stuff I had on the good stuff. I mean, a lot of good for everybody, right? Like drivers did great. I'm proud of our staff. Our staff did great. I'm proud of the media. Media did great. Food trucks did great. Everybody did really well. I do want to touch on a couple of the bad things. There's not a lot. One's constant dirt drops. Dirt drops happen, but it's just really like trying to manage them as best you can. Keep being mindful and respectful of the track and other people's time out on track. I don't think it was. I think it was about what we were expecting. It's not like it was like bad, but just always a good reminder. There was some weird offs. If anybody watched that Instagram story, we were commenting on it as our post event like walk around cleanup thing. So not a big deal, but just keep being mindful of that and try and reinforce that with any other ones. The more time we spend on track, the more time we spend on track. The more time we spend off track, the more time we sit and wait. We are doing things to expedite that process if we do have to like sweep the track and stuff like that. So hopefully in the future we'll be able to minimize our downtime some more. But yeah, gravel traps are a problem, Glenn, because like you're gonna throw rocks. So we had a big, I'm talking pretty big rock get thrown that we were honestly lucky that it didn't hit anybody or do anything, but it went far. So we're gonna spend some time before the next event going around the edge of the track. There's background behind it. It doesn't really matter. Going around the edge of the track, getting a lot of those bigger chunks of debris that could be sent. But for now, all we can do is really ask is like try and minimize. Not even really like try and minimize the amount. Just drive at the level that you're comfortable at, and then watch as your comfort level increases over time. If you try, and again, kind of go. I said this earlier, and we say it over and over again, but it's whatever. But if you try and jump too far, you're gonna have a bad time, and especially with some of the way that the dirt drops they get deep, and they hurt cars, and I don't want to see you guys hurting your cars. I know that there was like a chunk of concrete that got sent off, I mean big chunk of the track. There was a chunk of the track that was 15 feet from the edge of the track, and I know whoever hit that can't. There's no way that their car got away unscathed. So yeah, just stuff like that. It's a hazard for everybody at the end of the day, but. I know that the track is meant like you don't need to drive it at the very edge. You can be like a foot off the edge, and if you aim for that, even if you aim for 2 foot off the edge and you go a little bit deep, at least you're not off the end. So don't need to talk more about that, but that was a thing. Another one, and this was only during C group, and I understand it was our first time doing C group like this with the entry and exit and everything like that. But cutting through the grass to leave track, don't do that. It's a respect thing for the track. That the grass takes time to grow. It looks better when there is grass there. Next thing you know, there's a dirt path. It's not bueno. So just unless you really need to get off track, like you're overheating, maybe you got stuff coming out of your hood, whatever. Odds are it's probably going to be better to stay still. But if you really need to get off track, that's one thing. But most of the time, this was just people leaving the track. So just we put some barrels up and stuff like that and tires and kind of helped address the issue. But just don't cut through the grass to get off track. And it seemed like it may have been the most packed. Yeah, there was a lot of people. It's actually like our second most. It was wild. So cutting through the grass, that's. Talked enough about that. And then the last thing, and this kind of comes with learning the line, and this is why I mentioned earlier about the check-in thing with C Group. Hopping in the car with me to go around and get some laps to see, drive the line exactly as it's intended. People were tanking that tractor tire. That tractor tire is not there as a target. That tractor tire is there as like, we don't want you to be looking there. We want you to be like, if you imagine that was a big old wall and you. Like almost if we could put a huge canvas up so you can't even see to the other side of it, I feel like it would be better. But if you're hitting that tractor tire, you're way off. You're not even like going deep on the entry, because if you're going deep on the entry, there's an opening for that. You're just trying to like beeline across in a weird line. So watch the video that Tyler put out with Justin driving, and that's what we're trying to communicate really. Yeah, Justin was driving. That's what we're trying to communicate. So if you're hitting that tire, maybe just honestly, if you hit the tractor tire, probably a good idea to come over and just ask, like, hey, what am I doing wrong? I just hit that tractor tire, and like, the tractor tire is after you hit the entry and you make that left corner that's meant to go, like, you're supposed to go like really deep out of that left corner. People are hugging the inside on that left corner after the entry, and that's where the tractor tire is at. And so if you don't swoop out, so if this is like the entry on my hand over here, right, and then it kind of goes over here, if you don't swoop out deep in that entry and then pull back in, you kind of just like midline it, you go straight at the tractor tire, and you really shouldn't be there. So if you do hit it, it's probably a good idea to ask, like, hey, what did I do wrong here, and try and learn from that, because like it's not necessarily intuitive what you should be doing in that situation, right? Because we see people doing it kind of like constantly all day. They're on that same weird tight zigzag line instead of going deep to deep. And I understand a lot of reasons why, but once you see or experience what that line is supposed to feel like and go like, you're gonna be like, whoa, this feels so much better. This corner makes sense. Everything is, it's like shades a whole new light on everything. Yeah, definitely what Travis said, and this is your opportunity to figure that out too. What Travis said is that recommend, if you're a C group driver, go talk to the A and B group drivers, and ask to get in their car, ask to get in their passenger seat, because that's kind of the point of these driver advancement days. We want A and B group drivers to be helping the C group drivers. We want C group drivers to be learning from the A and B group drivers. We want the instructors to be helping everybody as much as we can. And if you're an A and B group driver and you see a C group driver struggling, they might be too intimidated to come over and talk to you. But if you notice it and you think that, hey, I could probably help this person out, go over and talk to them and try and help them out. I think they're going to be really receptive to that, and then it's a good opportunity to see, like, oh, this is what it's supposed to feel like. Because it's one of those tracks where, like, once you feel it, it makes it a lot easier because it's not necessarily obvious. And we do want to do things to make it more obvious into the future. All right, so that's all I got really on the like good, bad, and ugly kind of thing. The next thing is our lessons learned. So one of the things is definitely we're always struggling with is communication. Wonder if there's going to be. Sorry, I'm reading Paige's comment about the. Yes, we are. So I think that the summary is. We are going to be doing a more structured. Like learner kind of clinic day. We're working on that. For the drivers to the transition from the extra short to the short double lap and learning the line. Hairpin to do double lap and we'll be gripping up to try it. Yeah. So yeah, it's a good. Yeah, we are working on doing that. So this next one, and the hairpin's kind of difficult to do double laps, but we are looking at doing kind of more like single lap short course at least. So you kind of get a little better feeling. Once you get the hairpin's easy. You're also slow into it. But take your time, obviously. If you look at it as like it's just a corner that you want to hit it as its own corner. Don't worry about linking into it or linking into the next corner. Just hit it as a tight corner. And I think if you start slow and just kind of pop a Yui, basically, you're going to get into it smoothly. Yeah, so anyway, so our lessons learned are communications with drivers. We struggle with that all the time. We're trying everything we can to try and improve that communication pathway. This is just one of those that we're in right now. So for this next one, I'm going to try and set up a Facebook chat with all of the drivers in it. That way we can send out text message updates, Facebook Messenger updates with the layout that we're going to be switching to, as well as like a 15-minute heads up. So hey, 15 minutes. C group's going to 15 minutes at 4 o'clock or whatever it is. C group's going to be up, and then like a little picture of the layout that we're going to be running, just as a good reminder of where the entries and exits are on track. And hopefully that'll kind of help smooth that transition out a little bit more, but also speed it up. Because there was definitely times where we were sitting there I remember when we transitioned to long course, I remember sitting there for like 12 minutes. I'm like, why is nobody out here driving? Like, what's happening? And I can think of many reasons as to why. So this is going to be one of our attempts at helping to address that. And that group chat will also be useful for, hey, I need a part, or does anyone have this tool? or hey, I found this thing. Is this your thing? We hope that it'll be a good way of communicating between the drivers and staff as well as the drivers and each other. That way, everybody's aware of what's going on. We're going to be using that for communicating the schedule and any changes to it. Because obviously, for the last session, we changed from open drift for that last 2 hours to 2 separate run groups. We're calling that on the fly. We're going to switch that around to say that our default is that we're going to do an hour of C and an hour of A and B, and then we might do open drift if things are going smoothly at that point. But so communication, Facebook chat. If anyone out there knows how to automate messages so that it will send on schedule with this is what's happening. This is a picture of it. That would be super helpful. I cannot figure it out, and I will do it manually right now, but I would love to automate it. And I know that there's text message services that could possibly do the same thing, but I do want that two-way communication. Well, I guess really kind of almost like three-way communication, staff to driver and driver to driver. I think it'll be really helpful. And so we'll be adding everybody to that for this next one. I mentioned it earlier, but really trying to do a better job of making that option for riding along to show the line, whether it be with another car or another driver, so hopping with an A and B driver, hey, this is the line, or hopping into the Accord and going ripping some laps while we are able to really watch everything that's going on, and I can kind of give feedback as we're going through it, like, oh, this is where you're gonna want to be, this is where you're gonna try and be. Because that is a really fun opportunity to show you guys this is up close and personal what we're doing. So and then also using that Facebook group chat to be like, hey, when's the next one? Or hey, I'm gonna, if it maybe a poll or something like that. Like if I get 3 people that are interested in going for a little ride along, be like, hey, I'm gonna do a little ride along. Head on over. I'm at track entry, and then we'll go do a little ride along in the Accord for that feedback and stuff like that. So between the ride along and the communication, I think that'll kind of come together well. The next thing, and this is something I completely failed on, the idea was to do some trackside tech talks to really give some feedback on what we're looking at and what we're seeing as we're going through the day. Obviously, I had a plan for it. I had a schedule. I even put it out in the email. It didn't go according to plan, but we found something else in the process. So the driver check-ins, again, I mentioned that earlier with the way we did it with C Group. We were really, really happy with how that went. I know it's not exactly the same thing as what I was intending with the Tech Talks, but I think it's just as helpful, just a little bit different. So we're going to do that for C Group and A and B Group, not only for giving that feedback on what we're seeing and how things are going, but also for for making adjustments. So if we're going into a session, for instance, with A and B Group, we've been doing double lap, short course, double lap, short course, double lap, short course. Do you guys want to do single lap? We could do a single lap, and single lap's dope because you just crank people through, and that hype is a good time. So we're going to try it this next one. We're going to try to see how those time slots work out. We want to give you guys 2 sessions to just kind of enjoy and not really even worry about it. And then we'll do a tag up after that second session for both groups throughout the day. So do a tag up or a check-in after that second session and see if we should make any adjustments moving forward. So that's something that we're looking forward to, and it's a good opportunity to be like, oh yeah, move that clipping point, can we put some cones here so we can use it as a target zone, or like, hey, what if we just did single lap short and we're gonna do just practice backies for this first hour of this next session or the first 30 minutes of this next session. That's what we want to use those check-ins for, is make adjustments, make the day as enjoyable and as rewarding to you, and I don't want to say rewarding, but just enjoyable as possible. Address anything that's maybe not going as well. And then, why did I write that down? I wrote C Group update. Honestly, I don't even know what it, I think there's a minor update. Tyler, if you happen to know, were we talking about anything related to updates or changes to C Group? Because I honestly can't remember. But so I don't know. If I think about it later, I'll bring it back up. But I had C Group update written down. Oh, and then the last thing is, yeah, dude, what better way to learn a backy, right? It's a little backy session. Why not? Yeah, double app's a great time. So then the last, did I? I'm really bad at this. And then the last thing, oh, I think that's really it, honestly. That's everything I got on that one. Event recap, lessons learned. So that's, just things we're looking to do to try and improve things. Hopefully I can remember what I was talking about when I wrote this note down. This is 2 a.m. kind of doing things. Another thing is, so then looking at the tech book updates. So then the next topic, for the tech book update, we had a couple of questions this time, and we had a couple of minor issues. We're just kind of going to make those clarifications in the tech book. One of the things is, what did I write down? One of the things is I'm working on transitioning the tech sheet into more of a tech book with like chassis specific setup device. I've kind of put it out there as something. So if you have a car that's set up great, and want to share that setup, or if you know somebody who does, we'll be looking for that feedback. It'll be helpful. Kind of have some little guidelines figured out, but just mostly looking at the suspension and steering setups for these things for different cars, so that people can show up. The ideal is that people show up to the track with the right equipment for their chassis. I know there's a ton of information out there online, and it's hard to find consistently reputable feedback on that front. So I understand the difficulties that it comes with setting up different chassis for sure. And then also had questions about windshields. We're going to put some information about I don't even want to bridge that topic actually. So we're just we're going to have some updates for the tech book coming out. So then. And then also, just as an FYI, in case anyone didn't notice, if you are going through the tech sheet or the tech book, on the second page, we do have images of each of the layouts for the day. So you can always reference that if you're ever confused about where to go on and off track. But again, hoping that the messaging service will also help with that. Okay, so next one is the events, some of the upcoming events. So we got May 10th. That's going to be coming up quick. Driver tickets going to be available tomorrow on driftmaps.com, and then we got the event page up. We're working on getting the cover photo made and all that fun stuff. And we're going to try and actually, my goal over this next, as soon as possible, is I want to get all of the events throughout the year already pre-posted and just put up we don't have a cover photo for everything, but at least we can get them out there so that they're in your queue basically. Need to be yes. So Paige just asked about a question about fire extinguishers, and so does the fire extinguisher need to be in driver's reach? Yes, it should be in driver's reach. You imagine a situation where you've hit something or the other, and you're kind of maybe your seatbelt locked or something. You need to grab that fire extinguisher because you have a little bit of flame coming out through your trans tunnel, which I've had to happen to a friend of mine, and that you need to be able to grab that quickly. If you can't, then the thing could burn for longer than you want. I'll say, not necessarily quite a while, but we're good because we have fire extinguishers around the track. We're looking and watching and ready to go react. But you do want them within arm's reach, and the passenger footwell is a pretty good spot as long as you can reach it. I know it's not the easiest. And then the other option is if you have a quick release or cam lock or anything like that on your for your harnesses, as long as you can pop those off really quickly and reach them, that's good. But if they're in arm's reach, that's going to put you in the best situation overall. Okay, so next topic is the events, and Tyler might give some more insight on that too while I'm talking through here. So looking ahead at events, we've got May 10th, like I said, and then we're also working on getting the details finalized and coordinated for May 24th at Lapeer. We don't have that. I think it's in the calendar. We do have a Google Calendar, by the way. If you use Google Calendar, you can look up Mid-Michigan Drift Club on your midmichigandriftclub@gmail.com on your desktop and add it. And then also, if you send a message to the Mid-Michigan Drift Club page, it'll give you an auto response on how to add the Google Calendar. So check that out. Definitely, I'm gonna keep that updated throughout the year. It's probably gonna be the first place, honestly, that you're gonna see schedules for events, that you're gonna see the events being posted and announced. You're gonna see links to those pages on drift maps. So keep that calendar. It's useful. And then it's also going to be the first place that we're going to be adding information for other new events as they're announced. On that note, I will say, we've had a lot of questions about Owasso. We are going back to Owasso. We're still working on details on exactly when it's going to be. There's just a lot of moving parts to this big machine. I'll say this. There was no issues in committing to a postseason event, just as we did last year. That November 2nd was really, really awesome last year. We are planning for October 25th, doing more of a Halloween type of event at Owasso with a pretty high driver cap. We don't have that fully locked in right now, but there's like a 99% chance that the quote was, we don't have any issues committing to that. So, just a couple of events that we're adding there, and we're looking at more, right? So keep your eye out for those as things come along. That's really all I have on events coming up and stuff like that. But we are going back to Owasso at some point, and then we are also I kind of mentioned this earlier, but I'll mention it again now. We are looking at a drifting 101 kind of beginners clinic for a day at Jackson as well, because if you're a first timer, or if you're your first few times, or you just want to start from the beginning and go from there. Oh, cool. So Yeah, Owasso was a party. Sorry, I got distracted. There's stuff going on at the track right now too. What was I going on? We are going to be doing more of explicit, like beginner-based, progress through from beginning to end on driver clinics. So that'll be another one to look out for. Okay, so I'm just checking some of the comments right now. Yeah, Owasso was definitely a party. We're going to keep that party rolling. That party's going to grow. Actually, we had 100 cars at the last event, and that went silky smooth with boatloads of track time. And nobody went through tires, basically. So we love that. I know, me as a driver, you as a driver, everybody loves that. So we're going to take advantage of that. And when we look to that late season, that late season event, which October 25th is the plan right now, as long as that's what we have in our insurance. So as long as that gets 100% locked in and we can put it on the schedule. I know the other guys are maybe a little apprehensive to this. We might only do 120 driver cap, but I feel like we could do 150 people there and just blow it up. But a little bit more, another 20 drivers basically at a minimum wouldn't be a big surprise for that event, and we're going to make it even more of a party. And they again, I've said this before in the past. I'll say it again. Owasso staff, they loved it. They were very happy with how we conducted ourselves, how the event went, everything like that. They were stoked. So can't wait to be back there, honestly. And it's only going to be better. So then that leads me to the next topic is Driver of the Day Award. So this is something that we're calling it Driver of the Day Award. It's not like it's unique or anything like that. But we were looking at this as something that we can give out for each of these driver advancement days. And the idea is that the person who we select as the driver of the day is an exemplary of what we're going for. So with these driver advancement days, it's about taking a second, taking a breather, using it as a practice day. Don't try and jump 7 steps ahead. Take your time, learn the line, learn your car, work on your car setup. All of these things that we're trying to do to kind of just take away the rush of, I need to be on track every moment, and also separate the just go and drive aspect of it, and we're not going to worry about it. We want to make this something where it's a good environment within which to progress and have fun. Right? Get a million laps while still learning a thing or two in the process. And we had one driver that just came out as they really represented that well, and not only did they represent it the well day of, but they represented it very well after the fact, and that was way cool. So the driver of the day for this award, and I'll give one more piece before I get into who it was. So this was we were gonna do like a giveaway with the Drift Maps fee kind of thing. The idea was that we would just kind of maybe select a random driver and give T-shirts or stickers or a free event or anything like that. And we're still trying to figure out exactly what the package is going to be, because this is our first time ever doing something like this. But we thought for the driver advancement days in particular, this driver of the day award is going to be a perfect opportunity to do a good a good reward, I guess, for that in a way. But and hopefully others can kind of look to this person and how they conducted themselves as maybe a bit of an inspiration for the future. So it's a little interesting, it's a little different, and we're going to get it figured out there. But going back to driver of the day for the driver advancement days, somebody who is really exemplary of what we're preaching here, as maybe as annoying as it is sometimes, was Justin Madrid. Justin Madrid was out there in the red 350Z, and he started off, I think, in C group at the beginning of the day, and just was rocking it, and I think he got, I don't know if he was still in B group technically at the end of the day. I think he got to A group, but even said, I think we were telling him, like, dude, why aren't you out there tandem with some people? Yeah, we do have a really cool sticker. We were like, why aren't you out there tandem? He's like, oh, I'm trying to learn. This was either the next day or something like that. He's like, oh, I didn't want to do that because I'm trying to really make sure I nail the line every time. And he nailed the line. So Justin Madrid, man, dude, good job out there. I know I made some comments on it on the live stream. I know that we notice it as staff. I'm sure other drivers notice it as well, and that's what we're looking for. You kept your car together too, and it looks nice, and you were driving at a very, it looked like a very comfortable level, and that level just kept getting higher and higher and higher. And we saw this same behavior out of a lot of people. Don't get me wrong, like, I'm not trying to say that, oh yeah, it's the only guy that we saw that with. We saw this out of a lot of drivers, but it was like you just nailed it. And we want we want people to look at that and be like, oh, okay, this is what we're talking about. We posted up the video of you doing a lap, and I think that was a really good example, because like, you're not doing the wildest thing the whole times. You're driving the line, but not like beyond it. You're doing it so that you can do that 100 times. The way that and that's it. Like, that's the goal. And then as you go along, you're going to get deeper. You're going to throw more ankle. You're going to go faster. Yeah, there were quite a few people in the running that were doing this throughout the day. And also, I will say that one of the pieces of it was, I was honestly like, wow. When he was like, yeah, I didn't want to run tandems because I wanted to learn the line, is like, that's smart, because you don't want to get yourself into a tricky situation, and it really makes the driving experience a lot more enjoyable for you yourself, and then also for those that are driving with you, because it's like, oh yeah, dude's nailing the line every time. So very good job. We're excited to do that this more in the future. And actually, you mentioned, so I'm reading Justin's comment. You're welcome. I'm glad you appreciate it. The staff and the friends with the hype. I think that I hope that, as much as the staff might say stuff about like, oh yeah, basically you're being an idiot, stop being an idiot. At the same time, we're not going to hesitate to gas you up. We're not trying to hold you back. We don't want to tell you anything that's going to deflate your, deflate your ability, maybe deflate your ego a little bit, because some people, like, and I've been there, where you have, I'm best drifter around, and like, well, you're going off every lap, so I don't think you are. Sometimes you need to tell somebody, drop it down a little bit. we want everybody out there to enjoy and grow and have as much fun as possible, and then also, with the note of, keep their fellow drifters, having a good time, right? So yeah, just awesome, and looking forward to doing more of that and more of this stuff in the future. Let's see where we're at. I got one more topic, I think. Yeah. Oh yeah, and then the driver of the day. By the way, we know for a fact, at least, there's going to be a sticker, and we're very excited about it. So hopefully you guys like it. And before I get to the last topic, I'm going to mention Colin. So House Copper, it's very good, honestly. We got like spring conditions, and it's a little mushy, but as it gets a little bit melty, it's great. And then I think we're supposed to get like a foot of snow tomorrow, so that's going to be great too. I'm going to go over to Winter Park and Arapahoe Basin too. So, yes, Derek, is there a chance of adding additional single days at Jackson? Yes, there are chances for that. I don't know. I mentioned it to some people, but I'm going to be going a lot more heavy on drifting this year and motorsports and doing stuff at Jackson. We might do some smaller days too, but we're going to be adding days, but we can only do so much just because it's a lot for the staff. We only have we have a relatively small team. I think we're at like 11 or 12 people right now, and for these driver advancement days, it takes a lot to do that. And if we can get to the point where, like, hey, we have a good group of A and B group drivers, for instance, that's going to be a lot easier to add events where, it only takes like 2 of us to do a A and B group day with 30 or 40 drivers, right? So we're playing with ideas, to say the least. So the last topic that I have before we get into Q&A is the media, like, what did I call it? The media challenge series. So nobody knows about this unless you're a media personnel, most likely. But we're trying to find more ways of engaging everybody involved in this. The drivers and the media and the staff. We're all one big system, and the spectators and the fans that come out and support us and everything that goes on out there. It's all one big cohesive machine. And so going into this event, I forget who recommended it, but it was like, hey, what do you guys think about doing a low shutter speed challenge? So we're not exactly sure how it's going to go. We got some ideas, but they were out there, working towards that low shutter speed challenge. And we got some stupid little prizes. At a minimum, that you guys are going to be getting lunch at the next one, but it's really just because it's cool and fun. And so we do have a media challenge series. This one is a low shutter speed challenge, and God, the media for this event was awesome, by the way. I'm looking forward to seeing more as it drops. Okay, so I think that's everything. That's everything that I've got on my agenda. It's actually pretty good on time as far as, other than the messing it up at the beginning. We're at 56 minutes. I'm not necessarily going to go anywhere right now, but I'll just try and address some of the questions that I'm seeing in the comments. So I talked about single days at Jackson. Another question. So post your questions in the chat right now. Or if you need me to revisit, or if you have any questions about anything that I've mentioned prior to right now, even if I haven't mentioned it, throw it in the chat, and I'm reading through that. So Corrigan. So we've done Corrigan in the past. We don't plan on going to Corrigan at this year, at least. The only real reason, honestly, is because it's. Well, honestly, I don't have a good reason, but it's not great on tire wear, and I think right now we're at a point where we kind of value that a lot. Like low wearing tires is get more laps for the day. It's a good time, but I also know that in order to really be comfortable saying, like, yeah, let's do another Corrigan event, there'd have to be some minor adjustments to the infield. This kind of the same statement sort of applies to Auto City as well. Both tracks that are good tracks, just not the best tracks for drifting. It's hard to get stacked in the infield, especially, and they eat tires. And I think that maybe this is just we've been spoiled with Jackson and Owasso, where it's like, yeah, we don't really go through tires there. Lapeer goes through tires too, but it's got its own little vibe. The other thing that we don't, maybe it's been a while, so maybe people don't recognize. But like I personally don't like going to speedways too much because of the walls. Not because I don't like walls. Walls are fun to ride. I want to put some walls at Jackson just to have something as a clipping point, and something to get close to because it's fun and exhilarating. But I really don't like the number of cars that get totaled at these speedways. I can't think of maybe but one or two events in the last 11 years of me going to different speedways, or 10 years at least, almost 11 years, 10 years, the last decade of going to different speedways that I haven't seen a car get totaled. And to know that like there's maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 that hey, nobody totaled their car. That's not great. It's not good for the community. We got to give. I mean, it's good for the community in a way as far as like you get to drive, but when people are totaling out their cars, and maybe it's their first, second, third event, season, whatever,